Hello everyone, it's Gail from Ticket Anywhere, and welcome to another edition of Friday Fragments. This is a meme that is hosted by James or booksheetclub.blogspot.com. And this week I am going to read to you from a book that I first heard a lot about at BEA just a couple of weeks ago. It's a book that my friend Jen, who blogs over at The Secret Life of a Bibliophile, it was her must-have book of BEA, and she stood in this ginormous line that wrapped halfway down the Javits Center and back just to meet the author and get a copy of this book. And I took one look at the line and I said, it sounds really interesting, this book, but I don't know if I could stand in that line. And so I didn't, and I was sad because it sounded really good. But then that same week Amazon Vine came out and it was in it, and so I grabbed it and it is here. And it is pretty and gorgeous, although I think the finished cover looks even better. Yes, seriously. But it's shiny. Can you see the shine? I like shiny covers, and I hope the finished copy is going to be all shiny too. But it's The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and her name just reminds me of The Princess Bride because it was in that William S. Morgenstern. See? Connection. So one fabulous book for another fabulous book. And also, just to increase the super utter fabulousness of this, Jim Dale is going to be reading the audiobook. I mean, how absolutely perfect and excellent is that? And just from the bit that I've read, I think it is going to be absolutely, absolutely, positively amazing to have Jim Dale read it, and I'm going to have to get that audiobook because I love his voice and his narrations. And yes, but so far I've read about 60 pages of this book, and I am in love with it so far. I mean, I really can't tell you too much in words what it is because there are no words. It's hard to describe this book, but so far it's just beautifully written, and I love this world, and I just sit there and I read, and the chapters are really short, and I'm just like, ooh, just one more chapter, and then no, the train is at my stop and I gotta get off, and so I can't read one more chapter, and that makes me sad. But yes, not a book to read late at night because you'll probably be up half the night reading it. This is what I'm predicting. But I'm not going to find that out tonight because I got this book in, which is Hexed by Kevin Hearn, and I've been waiting for this book for eons. Well, a month after I read this book, which was absolutely, absolutely fabulous, and the book that I read last week for my Fragment Friday. But it's 300 pages, and I'm going to read it really quickly because I've been wanting to read this book forever. Well, a month. But still, it seems like forever when you really want a book. And then I'm going to go back to this book and probably read it really quickly, even though it's 400 billion pages. No, 400. I had a lot of coffee today. So anyhow, I am going to read you a small snippet from the beginning. It is not spoilerly at all, because it is literally the first 3 pages of the book. So here we go. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which comes out in September, by the way. I should probably mention that. Oh yeah, and all the chapters have this great little, they got a little title, and this one's Anticipation. The circus arrives without warning. No announcements precede it, no paper notices on downtown posts and billboards, no mentions or advertisements in local newspapers. It is simply there, when yesterday it was not. The towering tents are striped in white and black, no golds and crimsons to be seen, no color at all save for the neighboring trees and the grass of the surrounding fields. Black and white stripes on gray sky, countless tents of varying shapes and sizes with an elaborate wrought iron fence encasing them in a colorless world. Even what little ground is visible from the outside is black and white, painted or powdered or treated with some other circus trick. But it is not open for business. Not yet. Within hours, everyone in town has heard of it. By afternoon, the news has spread several towns over. Word of mouth is a more effective method of advertisement than typeset words and exclamation points on paper pamphlets or posters. It is impressive and unusual, the sudden appearance of a mysterious circus. People marvel at the staggering height of the tallest tents. They stare at the clock that sits just inside the gates that no one can properly describe. And the black sign painted in white letters that hangs upon the gates, the one that reads, "Opens at nightfall, closes at dawn." What kind of circus is open only at night, people ask. No one has a proper answer. Yet as dusk approaches, there is a substantial crowd of spectators gathering outside the gates. You are amongst them, of course. Your curiosity got the better of you, as curiosity is wont to do. You stand in the fading light, the scarf around your neck pulled up against the chilly evening breeze, waiting to see for yourself exactly what kind of circus only opens when the sun sets. The ticket booth clearly visible behind the gates is closed and barred. The tents are still, save for when they ripple over ever so slightly in the wind. The only movement within the circus is the clock that ticks by the passing moments, if such a wonder of sculpture can even be called a clock. The circus looks abandoned and empty, but you think perhaps you can smell caramel wafting through the evening breeze, beneath the crisp scent of autumn leaves, a subtle sweetness at the edge of the cold. The sun disappears completely beyond the horizon, and the remaining luminosity shifts from dusk to twilight. The people around you are growing restless from waiting, a sea of shuffling feet, murmuring about abandoning the endeavor in search of someplace warmer to pass the evening. You yourself are debating departing when it happens. First there is a popping sound. It is barely audible over the wind and conversation, a soft noise like a kettle about to boil for tea. Then comes the light. All over the tents, small lights begin to flicker as though the entirety of the circus is covered in particularly bright fireflies. The waiting crowd quiets as it watches this display of illumination. Someone near you gasps. A small child clasps his hands with glee at the sight. When the tents are all aglow, sparkling against the night sky, the sign appears. Stretched across the top of the gates, hidden in curls of iron, more firefly-like lights flicker to life. They pop as they brighten, some accompanied by a shower of glowing white sparks and a bit of smoke. The people nearest the gates take a few steps back. At first it is only a random pattern of lights, but as more of them ignite, it becomes clear that they are aligned in scripted letters. First, a C is distinguishable, followed by more letters, A, Q, oddly, and several E's. When the final bulb pops alight and the smoke and sparks dissipate, it is finally legible, this elaborate incandescent sign. Leaning to your left to gain a better view, you can see that it reads, Les Cirques des Rêves. I'm saying that wrong. Some in the crowd smile knowingly, while others frown and look questioningly at their neighbors. A child near you tugs on her mother's sleeve, begging to know what it says. The Circus of Dreams, comes the reply. The girl smiles delightedly. Then the iron gates shudder and unlock, seemingly by their own violation. They swing outward, inviting the crowd inside. Now the circus is open. Now you may enter. And that is how The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern starts. I can't wait to see how this ends, and look for it in stores in September. Until next time, have a great weekend.